What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're going to be going over some Guardian games for you guys, talking about the new Taraxippos Scout Rifle that came out with Guardian games this year. It is a Strand Kinetic Scout Rifle, so I have been waiting since Lightfall came out for Strand weapons of the Pulse Rifle variety and Scout Rifle variety, and now that we got this, I am not disappointed. This thing is absolutely nasty, and y'all need to grind out the Guardian games. Super easy to get the God Roll of this. Ava gives you a nice God Roll to even start out, but we're gonna go over the PvP, PvE God Rolls for you guys so you can turn in those medals and get those 5 out of 5 rolls. Before we get into our God Rolls, we have 2 origin traits on this beast. First off, we have Classy Contender, so final blows with this weapon grant us class ability. Very interesting roll that only comes on our Guardian gain weapons, so this, our title, SMG, etc. Next, we have that Omolon fluid dynamics that comes on other weapons. With this weapon has increased reload speed and stability for the top half of the magazine, so it's almost like a compulsive loader that's built into the weapon, because that top half of the magazine, you're getting a nice boost to reload and stability. Now, starting us off in the PvP realm, for me personally, I'm going with stability, range, and handling, trying to make these as best that I can, hence why I'm going with corkscrew rifling right here in that first column for the jack of all trades with +5 to all 3 of those, just making it a little bit more stable. You can pull it out faster from this in your shotgun, whatever you may be using. Now, as always, for our second column, going with that accurized rounds for that +10 range. Decided to go with this instead of something like steady rounds or that flared magwell, just because steady rounds gives us -2 range, even though it does give us a nice solid +15 to stability. Flared magwell is really for reload and speed, and so it doesn't really make sense, in my opinion, to have that in the PvP realm, and this thing with accurized absolutely maps Guardians. So in our third column, we have 2 different choices here. First off, no distractions. Aiming this weapon for a short period of time reduces that flinch. It is a 35% decrease to flinch after only a second of ADSing, so this is not too bad, but you can't fire until that procs. So not too shabby, especially if you're holding those lanes, like something that plays a little bit slower, like 3s and trials. In 6s, you might want to use our second option, but this is definitely super nice for that slow gameplay. Now, that other option that I am talking about right here is Zen Moment. Causing damage with this weapon reduces recoil and flinch over time, so it also has that flinch going on where we get a reduction, but you do have to hit some shots. So this is where that 6s comes into play. The more shots you hit, the better the grant is to flinch reduction as well as that recoil reduction. So this is definitely a little harder to get procced in 3s, but still, once it gets procced, it absolutely turns this weapon into a laser beam. Now, in the fourth column, definitely my God Roll is Kill Clip. After reloading, you gain increased damage, and it is a nice 25% increase to damage. So this thing, you're starting to absolutely annihilate Guardians with 3 taps, which is so fast with that TTK, and it is absolutely crazy for that 6s. Like I said, with Zed Mobit or something, you have these 2 paired together, and you are absolutely annihilating Guardians. Now, when we move on to our other option right here with Cascade Points, this is slept on mostly because it's kind of hard to get procced in some of the PvP gameplay just because of how everything is working. So, final blows or sustained precision hits with another weapon increase this weapon's fire rate for a short duration, and when it says a short duration, you're able to shoot like 13 out of the 15 bullets super fast. That fire goes up so much that it is crazy how fast you can annihilate Guardians with this, but like I said, it is kind of hard to proc, so you gotta run almost something like a sniper to stay back, get a defeat, then get Cascade Point to proc, because up close and personal, if you get like a shotgun defeat or an SMG, you're too close to the enemy for Cascade Point, in my personal opinion, unless you're like hip firing and a god. So that's why I went with Kill Clip as my overall God Roll. But if you can get this thing to proc, the TTK has to be one of the lowest in the games. Now, when we move on to the PvE realm, this thing is also very special with its rolls that it can get for our third and fourth column. Now, for our first column with our barrel, I'm personally going with extended barrel here for that plus 10 to range, as well as plus 10 to our recoil, so it makes it a little bit easier for us to shoot, and it gives us a nice juice to plus 10 in the range category. Now, I've definitely had people come at me for this choice in the past when I take tactical mag over extended, but this is definitely the best option in this column. You get a plus to the magazine stability and reload speed when all the extended mag does is absolutely tank your reload speed, and you get a very few more shots, so it's only like 3 or 4. It isn't that big of a deal in the long run for something like a scout, and just extended mag doesn't do it for me because the reload speed is so slow. Now, when we start into these columns right here, we have some more unique combination of perks that you will see in a second. So Outlaw, we definitely see it on other weapons with precision kills, greatly reducing our reload time. So when we're using this, getting those nice precision defeats, you can get this to proc and just keep absolutely annihilating those enemies in the PvE realm, especially when you pair it with the 5 out of 5 God Roll, which is Hatchling in my opinion, which we'll go over in a second here. So this with Hatchling is absolutely nasty, but 4th times the charm is also crazy. Now, 4th times the charm also goes in this slot, so it can be switched out for Outlaw. Landing those precision hits returns 2 rounds to the magazine, so this is a little bit more for that damage based, but when you're getting those precision hits and proccing Hatchlings, it's absolutely nasty. But this paired with explosive rounds is definitely more for that juice in the damage side rather than the head clear potential. But like I said, that special roll of Outlaw and Hatchling is absolutely nasty. Now, like I said, we are pairing in this 4th column, at least for me, my God Roll with it is Hatchling, so those precision final blows, which procs that Outlaw like I'm talking about, or rapidly defeating targets with non-precision weapons, spawns Threadlings at the target's location. When you put on something like that Threadling of Evolution, you're getting the increase to your Threadling damage as well, so this thing absolutely clears ads like a menace. When you pair it with Outlaw, like I said, absolutely crazy how fast you can reload and continue the proccing of Hatchling. Now, for our second option in that 4th column, we have Explosive Payload, which projectiles create an AoE detonation on impact. As you can see below, it's split between 50% into the explosion damage and then also 30% increase in PvE. So we get that 15% damage for body in shots increased, and precision damage increases various depending on what weapon and stuff like that you're using. So we see a lot of scout rifles that have explosive payload, and it pairs super well with 4th times the charm for that damage, like I said, but there are a lot of other scout rifles out there that have this. That's why I went with that Outlaw and Hatchling as my God Roll, but explosive payload is definitely a great PvE perk as well. So definitely, if you get one on it, like I said, Ava gives us that nice one right off the rip after we complete that first initial quest. So definitely keep that one and keep on grinding, turning in those medals for our other God Rolls here. Get that 5 out of 5 so you can absolutely annihilate Guardians in the Crucible, and then also in the PvE realm have that crazy strand synergy and just wipe out everything in the PvE categories. So thank you guys so much for the support. Truly appreciate it. Hopefully y'all can get these. We have 2 more weeks to grind out Guardian games, so get to smashing those and get those medals turned in. Get you that 5 out of 5. So thank you guys again. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.